And welcome to another Cardinals Nest here on HBC TV 25. This is the show devoted exclusively to St. Mary's University and its athletic programs. I'm Dean Beckman, joined by Sports Information Director Donnie Netto. Donnie, big show today. We have a lot of fall sports actually starting to wrap up a little bit. We'll get to that later. And one of those sports is men's and women's golf. And we'll have on the head coach, Greg Moore. He'll be our interview guest a little bit later on here in the program. But Donnie, we begin this show by promoting and encouraging the community to come out this Saturday to a 5K climb fundraiser, and it's for Kayla Jones. Kayla Jones is the sister of St. Mary's University women's basketball player Samantha Jones, and Kayla was very severely injured in a car accident in Duluth over the summer. And she's on the road to recovery, but she's had to go through a lot of surgeries. And so one of the student athletic groups is putting together this 5K climb fundraiser in Kayla's honor. So again, it's a wonderful example of the St. Mary's community coming together to support one of their own. So Donnie, let's talk a little bit more and really promote people to come out to this 5K.
Yeah, you know, we've talked about this a lot, and when we had Coach Cassidy on a couple weeks ago, we talked about it with his son Jack. It is one of those things that this community, the St. Mary's community, always seems to rally around its own, and Sam Jones has been a regular on the women's basketball team for the last 3 years. This is her senior year, so it'll be her 4th year, but you know, when people found out that her sister was severely injured, and you know, obviously the medical bills are starting to mount, you know, we try to reach out and we try to help as best we can. And the Student Athletic Advisory Council has put together this 5K run with a climb at the end, kind of to signify the climbing back from you know, in the recovery process. So it's again just a great event. Give a super you know, shout out to all of the SAAC members and all the work that they've done, and hopefully we can get a great turnout and raise some money and help the Jones family.
And Donnie, you and I both know Samantha a little bit. She's just such a happy person all of the time, very personable, and it's great to see the community do this for her.
It certainly
and her
is.
family, of
and
course.
To be honest, I'm excited to see her on the court again.
Yeah.
You know, she had a great year last year as a junior, and it's really important that we reach out and help as best we can to you know, to help this family out, and for them to realize that they have the support of this community, and hopefully Sam understands that. I know that she's had a great experience here at St. Mary's, but this is just another part of the St. Mary's way, and it really makes you proud to be a St. Mary's member of the community.
Right, and so the 5K will start at 11 a.m. on Saturday. There is a $15 registration fee, but again, all of the proceeds go to the Jones family. And Donnie, as far as accessing the pre-registration, they can probably just go to the St. Mary's Sports website.
Yeah, there's a link online at the St. Mary's Sports website. Just go there, and there's a link there that you can register online, or you can show up on Saturday and register before the race too.
Right. All right, so let's take a look now at the past week in St. Mary's athletics. And Donnie, we begin with volleyball. We've had Mike Lester on the program, the head coach, and his team just continues to roll. Their record is now 10-2 overall. They're 4-1 in conference play. And one of the things he talked about last week was that sort of tough road trip they had. They had to go to St. Ben's and then up to Concordia, but they made it a successful one. A little nerve-wracking in the St. Ben's contest where they lost the first set, but they swept everything after that.
Yeah, you know, and one of the things that we talked about last week with Mike was just how he lets the team figure it out. And you really look at that St. Ben's match, they lost the first set 25-9. I mean, they got handled in that first set. Mike kind of let them group between sets, and they rattled off 6 straight wins, 3 against St. Ben's to win 3-1, and then they just picked up right where they left off the next day, beating Concordia 3-0. 2 really important conference wins. St. Ben's is right there in the thick of the playoff chase. Concordia is a little down this year compared to where they were last year, but anytime you have to go to Concordia to Memorial Auditorium to play, it's a tough place to play, and the Cardinals did a great job. They get out of that tough road trip, 2 wins, come into a big conference match on Wednesday against St. Olaf, and then they get their final regular season tournament this weekend. So really, they are rolling. They're just rolling along right now, and then after this weekend, they really kind of get into the real meat and potatoes of their conference schedule.
So Donnie, I don't know if you've had a chance to talk to Coach Lester or not. is it safe to say that maybe they had bus legs coming off of the start of that trip going into St. Ben's?
I think it was. Anytime you have to travel like that, it certainly is difficult. But it's one of those things where Mike said it's that first ball touch, and St. Ben's did a really nice job in that first set of taking care of that. And once the Cardinals got back to playing the way they're capable of playing, it was all St. Mary's, and I certainly tip my cap to them. Because you lose that first set like that, you could really be on your heels. Instead, they came out and attacked and did a great job the rest of that match, as well as the following day, against Concordia.
Sure.
You got to talk about Brandy Blattner when you talk about volleyball. I mean, she's just had such a remarkable season so far. 16 kills in both matches, along with 14 digs in the first one and 10 in the second. So 2 double-doubles for her. And then you look at the setting prowess of Brittany Hansen and Lillian Braun have done a great job, and they did as well last weekend with Brittany also getting a double-double, 23 assists and 14 digs against St. Ben's. So those two have really done a nice job of running the 6-2 for the Cardinals. Brittany being the veteran, and then Lillian coming in as a freshman and kind of probably Brittany takes her under her wing a little bit and kind of teaches her the ropes, and the two of them are really a great dynamic pair for the Cardinals. And Morgan Thomas, outstanding job in the back row as the libero, 35 digs on the weekend, so she had a great performance as well. And as Mike has talked many times, probably the unsung hero for the Cardinals is Maddie Hess, and just all the different things that she's doing for this team, whether it be serving, whether it be in the back row, whether it be playing, whether it's setting, because she has done some of that, whether it's playing on the outside. So she's kind of that multi-tooled athlete for Mike, and allows him to put her in a lot of different positions.
Well, let's go to cross-country action now, and the cross-country runners, the men and women, took 11th and 15th respectively at the Carleton Invitational, which is actually known as the running of the cows. So, Donnie, is it safe to say the performances were a little spotty?
Oh boy, yeah, I knew something was coming. Actually, they were very good. They were probably better than spotty, but I think Coach Burnt is happy with where they're at right now. It's kind of a weird season in that they had 2 weeks off before the Carleton Invitational, and so I think they were certainly ready for a competition. Jovan Newsom had an outstanding meet. He finished 9th individually with a 26:16, which is his 4th fastest career time. So it looks like Jovan is right in top form, getting ready for the last regular season meet before they get into the conference championship. So he's running very well. Austin O'Hare continues to run exceptionally well, kind of chasing Jovan as they go this year. And he was the second Cardinal to finish at Carleton. And then on the women's side, Alyssa Thiel and Danielle Frankie continue to be the 1-2 freshman punch for the Cardinals. And it doesn't seem like the adjustment to the 6K for those two freshmen has been much of a problem. Both of them are running very, very well.
I don't personally know Alyssa Thiel very well, but she's very quiet from what I can tell, but she's a terrific athlete, and clearly things are clicking here at the longer distance level that she faces here in college.
Absolutely, and I think that's the biggest thing to see from all of the freshmen, especially on the women's side, is that they seem to have adjusted to the 6K run pretty well, and are really doing a nice job. And those two have just been really in top form since the day they stepped on campus. So great job by both of those two, and all of the Cardinals. 11th and 15th team-wise is very solid for them. And I know Coach Burnt really likes what he's seeing and is excited to see what happens at the Drews Neubauer Invitational, and then 2 weeks later at the conference championships.
And you knew I couldn't let that running of the cows go. I had to milk that one for all it was worth, right?
Oh, Lord help me.
Let's turn now to women's soccer action. They lose a heartbreaker to both Gustavus and Concordia. And unfortunately, it's been sort of the story of the year for the women's soccer team, Donnie. They're this close, but they just are losing out on some of these close ones.
Yeah, they score a first half goal against Gustavus right away, 12 minutes into the game, and then unfortunately Gustavus scores once in the first half and once in the second to take the 2-1 win. And then the Concordia game on Saturday, you can use the term heartbreaker all you want, but that certainly was a heartbreaker to lose 0-0 with 9 seconds left in the second overtime, and Concordia gets a loose ball in front of the Cardinal goal and puts it behind Gabriella Peterson, and and beats the Cardinals 1-0. It's certainly a tough way to to lose a game, and especially in a game that St. Mary's had several opportunities to score and just couldn't quite get the ball to go their way, and unfortunately at the end it ended up as a 1-0 loss.
Right, so they're now 2-7-1 overall, 0-5-0 in the conference, but so many of those games are just one-goal games, and so they're very close to having a 500 or better record.
Yeah, and that's the thing with soccer, and we can talk about it with both the men and the women. The biggest key in soccer is you have to take advantage of the opportunities you get, because there aren't that many of them. And you look at the Gustavus game, shots were very similar, and yet Gustavus took advantage of the two opportunities that they really had, putting the ball in the net. And once Becca scored for St. Mary's, they weren't able to convert any more of their opportunities. So it really is a game of opportunities, and you need to make sure that when that opportunity is there, you've got to be able to convert.
Well, one team taking advantage of the opportunities is the men's soccer team. We had Pete Watkins on the program a couple of weeks ago, and I got a sense of sort of a quiet confidence from Pete and really his team this year, and it's showing up on the field. They're now 6-4 overall. They're 3-2 in conference play, and they had a big 2-0 win over Concordia last week.
Yeah, really nice win for the men, and really one of those games that you kind of go into and you say, okay, on paper we should beat these guys, and rather than letting it slip away, they made sure that they dominated game from start to finish, come up with the 2-0 win, get a goal from Robbie Sobczak late in the first half, which really was a big boost. When you're scoring in the last minute of the half, you go into the break feeling really positive rather than maybe, hey, we let something slip away here at 0-0. They go into the half 1-0, and then Garrett Grunke scores in the second half to give them the 2-0 win. And they're right now they're clicking on all cylinders. You talk offensively, they're getting great performances from the two that I mentioned, as well as James Larson's playing very well. But defensively, they are playing outstanding, and that starts with Nate Levy in goal. But you also got to look at Jared Wolt and Victor Mendoza. They are playing extremely well, and it's really that 1-2 punch of an explosive offense and a really stingy defense that is helping them be as successful as they are right now.
And at the end of the program today, we'll take a look at what's coming up for the men's soccer team as they look to continue that success. Stay tuned here to the Cardinals Nest. When we come back, we'll bring on the head coach for women's and men's golf. That's Greg Moore. He'll be on next here on HBC's Cardinals Nest.
HBC GigaWorld is fiber optic, which means there's more capacity for more devices. With HBC GigaWorld, your broadband experience gives you unsurpassed capacity, allowing multiple users in your home to surf, shop, game, and stream all at the same time, with no buffering or lag. HBC GigaWorld, with more bandwidth and reliability than any other provider, giving you the best speed and capacity for your GigaHome experience. Visit hbci.com to learn more.
Football night on HBC is back.
When it comes to high school football, no one has you covered like HBC.
Join HBC 25 Sports this fall as we travel to local high school football stadiums to bring you our game of the week.
And now it's brought to you in crystal clear HD.
To see the full schedule of games, log on to hbci.com/sports.
Catch all your local high school football action right here on HBC.
Brought to you by Lewiston Auto.
HBC Sports, your home for high school football.
Turn your friends into GigaFriends with HBC and earn up to $50 on each qualifying referral.
Up to $50.
That's right.
More input, please.
When HBC customers refer their friends to sign up for HBC services, they can earn up to $50. If they get 2 friends to sign up for services,
That would be $100.
That's right. Pretty quick with the math there.
Affirmative. We are robots. Math is kind of our thing.
Never would have guessed.
Grab some GigaFriends and start saving today.
And we're back here on the Cardinals Nest on HBC TV 25. Dean Beckman, Donnie Netto, and Greg Moore joining us now, the head coach for women's and men's golf at St. Mary's. And Greg, thanks for being on the program once again. We usually have you on twice a year, right? Because you're also an assistant coach for women's hockey at St. Mary's. But today, golf, it's the big MIAC Conference Championships. So you're going to be up in Coon Rapids at Bunker Hills this weekend. So let's start with women's golf. We'll begin with them. So give us your impression on how this past season has gone for the women's golf team as they prepare now for the conference championships.
You know, Dean, it's had its goods and bads. I mean, it's been awesome. Caitlin Kling is having an absolutely career year. think averaging just under 80 strokes per round. You can't say enough about Caitlin Kling and the leadership she's brought as our number one golfer, now been our number one golfer for all 3 years that she's played so far. So she's having an absolutely outstanding year. Been a little rocky with our kind of 3, 4, and 5 golfers. Haven't really found anybody consistently to kind of step in and take that role. So it's been a little bit kind of an iffy situation where we're having great rounds from Caitlin Kling and Madison Gately, our lone senior this year. But our 3, 4, and 5 have been a little bit of a struggle with inconsistency.
Greg, talk a little bit, and I know this isn't the Caitlin Kling show, but, really, like you had mentioned, the season that she's having, I mean, look at the rounds that she's putting together. She shot a 77, she shot a 79. I mean, these are rounds that we haven't talked about in a women's golfer in 10 years, and yet she's almost making it a common occurrence for
It is,
for
and you know what, the nice thing about it is that, like we said, it's consistent. It's not just, I'm going to throw a 77 one day, but I'm going to come back with an 86 the next. And she's throwing these numbers consistently, and it's really kind of sparked that kind of intensity in our women's golf team, and it's been really nice to see, and hopefully she can have another career round this weekend and post a really good number for the MIC championships.
And what effect has her golfing had on Madison? Has Madison tried to, has upped her game as sort of a result of that as well?
Oh, yeah. Anytime you have a number one golfer that comes out and posts some of the rounds, it always kind of adds that little bit of added expectation for everybody else. So everyone's desperately trying to kind of catch up and help her out. And so far we've had some really good rounds out of Madison Gately and a few others, and hopefully it will continue this weekend.
Can you talk a little bit, as long as we're dealing with the women, talk a little bit about this weekend now? There's a couple things. One, you've seen the course now. Your veterans have seen it more than once because obviously they played last year. But also, this is the one tournament of the year that you play 3 rounds rather than 2. How will that play into this weekend for St. Mary's?
It's definitely more of a mental battle. I mean, anytime you're talking about 3 rounds, we can talk about the physical burden of adding an extra 18 holes and walking and the extra day and all that kind of stuff. But in the end, it comes down to mental fortitude and how well we're able to kind of overcome that obstacle. There's no doubt it definitely plays a role, but you look at our scores from last year, we got better every single day. And hopefully that's just the kind of team that we are, that every day, we're going to go out and do our best. And, hopefully as we get more familiar, like you said, we went up and played a practice round last weekend. Hopefully that gives them a little more confidence going into the weekend. And hopefully that gives them a great starting position for Saturday morning. And then hopefully we come back Sunday morning and do the same thing, and hopefully Monday the same thing after that. So hopefully as we get more familiar, that the scores keep getting better and they get more comfortable.
Let's switch over to the guys. It's really been a solid season for the men's team. We talk about throwing up some pretty consistently low scores. Again, this is one of those years that probably from a scoring average standpoint, one of the best in recent memory.
Yeah, it's nice having 5 guys that you don't know who's going to be the lowest. In the years past, we talk about Blake Westerberg a lot, being the number 1 golfer for the last 4 years. Quite honestly, I mean, any one of our top 5 right now could play our number 1 position. I mean, that's how deep we are and how much kind of consistency we have throughout the lineup. And it's nice, but it's also kind of nerve-wracking a little bit because you want one guy to just go up and take that and say, you know what, this is my spot. And I mean, we haven't had it yet. So hopefully this weekend we get someone to step up and say, you know what, I'm going to be the guy and I'm going to go out and post a low score.
You've had some great performances, really, from your veterans. You look at Jackson and Aiton and Blakely, and then you've got Blair Sanders, who's really come on and played very well. So you've got a nice mix of veterans and newcomers. How important will it be for the veterans to kind of help Blair out, because he's going to be doing this for the first time on Saturday, Sunday, or Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
Saturday, Sunday, Monday. It's always great to have a veteran presence, and it's always great for the veterans to kind of step up and not have to rely on a freshman or a first-year player to kind of come in and set the precedent of a low score. So in that regards, it is important because we do want Blair to come in and be very free and clear and be able to just play his game and not have to worry about posting a low score. But in the same respect, I'm not worried about Blair Sanders one bit. He's come in and been on fire since day one. So I expect nothing but the same thing going forward, and hopefully he has a tremendous round being his first year in the MIC championships.
You know, Greg, those of us in Winona, we've been talking all fall about how great the weather has been. We've been very lucky. How about you and your team at your meets? Because weather, and in golf is one of those sports where weather can greatly impact how things go. So what sort of weather have you seen so far in the fall at your various meets, and what do you expect this weekend?
Yeah. Well, we have had great weather this year, Dean. It's been kind of a trying time for us with all the rain we've had. We've had to kind of shift some practices around.
Sure.
But in regard to the temperature and the humidity and everything like that, it's been an absolutely fantastic fall. Right now, the only day that looks a little chilly is Saturday morning with a high of 52. So in that regard, it is going to be a very chilly morning. We're lucky enough to be kind of going off mid-morning, so it's not going to be as cold for us as it will be for some of the early rounds. So hopefully we get the added benefit of the temperatures rising and hopefully the ball traveling a little bit further. But after we get through the first day, it'll be pretty average and pretty typical throughout the rest of the 2 days. So no real true weather concerns other than day one, and hopefully we can get through that. And like you said, it's all about mental obstacles and getting over them.
How about expectations? What would you like to see this weekend? If we talk to you next Wednesday, what would satisfy you as a coach in terms of where you guys are at?
It's such a vague term, but I want to be competitive. I mean, I don't want to take day one and whatever the score post. We talked about the women posting a score better every single day, and I guess that's the expectation for the men as well. Let's go out. I mean, there's no excuses that we have. I mean, you either have it or you don't. And day one, we're going to figure out whether we have it or not, and then from there we can evaluate and see where we're going to go. And hopefully, as we get into Sunday and into Monday, hopefully the expectation I have is that we're consistently getting better and constantly getting better so that we're posting better scores every single day.
How about for you, Greg? What is your role this weekend? Some people think you just drive the bus up and you sit there and you have some coffee in the locker room or in the pro shop. But I mean, you actually have some things that you can do to help the golfers throughout the round.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm kind of their mental kind of trampoline. They bounce things off of me. I give them input back, and it's my job to kind of help them and give them confidence for the shots they're going to be playing, and kind of guide them in the direction they should be. Sometimes it's difficult when you're staring down a fairway and seeing a hole that might be 210 yards that you can easily reach with a different club, and you got trouble on your left, you got trouble on your right. I mean, you need the absolute perfect shot, and sometimes you just need a little bit of confidence to kind of make that shot and give them that kind of extra boost that they need.
So, Greg, just a minute left. We mentioned that you're the assistant coach for the women's hockey team, so maybe give us a little sneak preview, because practices will be starting soon here.
Practices do start 2 weeks from this past Monday. Very exciting. I think we have 8 freshmen coming in this year, all expected to kind of play some very pivotal roles for us. We graduated a lot of leadership with our 5 seniors last year. And it's going to be exciting. I'm very excited for our team. I think this is going to be one of the best teams we've ever had in my 6 years being at St. Mary's, and I hope they can prove me right, and hopefully we can make a deep run into the playoffs, and who knows, maybe even an NCAA tournament berth. So that'd be a nice thing to have around here.
Yeah, you bet. Good goals to shoot for.
Sir.
All right, Greg, thanks a lot, and thanks
you.
for coming in. Good luck this weekend to both of your teams.
Thank you.
All right, stay tuned. Donnie and I will be right back, and we'll take a look at the week ahead in St. Mary's athletics here on the Cardinals Nest.
Football night on HBC is back.
When it comes to high school football, no one has you covered like HBC.
Join HBC 25 Sports this fall as we travel to local high school football stadiums to bring you our game of the week.
And now it's brought to you in crystal clear HD.
To see the full schedule of games, log on to hbci.com/sports.
Catch all your local high school football action right here on HBC.
Brought to you by Lewiston Auto.
HBC Sports, your home for high school football.
Turn your friends into GigaFriends with HBC and earn up to $50 on each qualifying referral.
Up to $50.
That's right.
More input, please.
When HBC customers refer their friends to sign up for HBC services, they can earn up to $50. If they get 2 friends to sign up for services,
That would be $100.
That's right. Pretty quick with the math there.
Affirmative. We are robots. Math is kind of our thing.
Never would have guessed.
Grab some Giga Friends and start saving today.
HBC GigaWorld is fiber optic, which means you can experience true gigabit Wi-Fi. With HBC GigaWorld, you can maximize your Wi-Fi experience and the devices you use with HBC's GigaHome Gateway. Take your Wi-Fi to the next level with faster internet speeds that have increased signal strength, backed by the reliability and bandwidth to support simultaneous internet users all at the same time. HBC GigaWorld, with more bandwidth and reliability than any other provider. Visit hbci.com to learn more.
And we're back here to wrap things up on the Cardinals Nest. And in this last segment, we usually take a look at the week ahead in St. Mary's athletics. And Donnie, once again, just mentioned for that Kayla Strong 5K climb. Again, it's for Kayla Jones, the sister of women's basketball player and St. Mary's student Samantha Jones, who was injured. She was crossing a busy street in Duluth over the summer and was hit by a vehicle, suffered some neck injuries and has gone through some surgeries. And so now the Student Activities Athletic Council is putting this fundraiser together. It's a 5K and it's open to the St. Mary's community. It starts at 11 o'clock this upcoming Saturday.
Yeah, it should be a great event, and hopefully people can come out and help support Sam and her family and really enjoy a great time, because it'll actually be a lot of fun.
Right, yep. The registration $15. You can pre-register on the St. Mary's Sports website. Volleyball tournament this weekend. They're actually traveling out east. They're in Pennsylvania right now.
Yeah, kind of a rare thing for the Cardinals to go east. A lot of times they'll go out to Colorado during their lengthy trip, and this year they're going out east to play in the Newman Invitational. Yeah, matches against 4 teams that they've never played before. So I know Coach Lester's kind of excited about that. A chance to kind of see what the east region of the United States, what their volleyball is like. So it should be a great week for them, a great tournament for them. And then men's soccer's got a couple of road games. Men's soccer's on the road at Hamlin on Saturday. Women's soccer's on the road at Hamlin on Saturday. And then next week, the women are home against McAllister Tuesday night at Okramovich Field. Then the men will host the Scots on Wednesday, also at Okramovich at 7 o'clock. So a busy time for us right now as we kind of get into the home stretch of fall sports and get ready for the winter.
Right. And Donnie, I think too, in your role as sports information director, we always look to you for stats and information, of course, especially at home events, but you have a role on these road events as well, as you kind of follow along, and with social media now, that's drastically changed your job a little bit, hasn't it?
Absolutely. You're a road game, you're sitting on the couch or wherever you are watching the live stats, tweeting out about how they're doing. You've got the story to write up afterwards, and so yeah, it's they may be on the road, but the job continues, and it's fun to watch them, and the social media aspect of it's a lot of fun, because you get people to kind of follow along, and it's just another way for us to promote Cardinal athletics and how our athletic programs are doing.
Right. And if people would like to follow along and follow St. Mary's Athletics, it's at SMUSID, correct?
That is correct.
And I saw you're also Snapchatting. That's new for you,
right?
right?
On Snapchat. That's right. Yeah, that's a new one. We just keep adding more social media networks, and who knows what'll be next.
Good. Just a short time left here, Donnie. Real quick, back to that volleyball tournament out in Pennsylvania. 4 games, and we mentioned that Coach Lester is excited to be facing some new competition, but there's also some trepidation because we really don't know much about these opponents in these schools.
Absolutely.
Right?
In fact, Coach Lester joked yesterday that assistant coach Jackie Keeker has kind of an easy job this weekend because she has no scouting report to do because she doesn't know anything about the teams. But there is some trepidation there, but it's a lot of fun to be able to face some teams that you've never played before. Even when you have a non-conference match against, say, UW La Crosse or UW Eau Claire, they're not in the conference, but we do face them quite a bit. Mm-hmm. So this is completely different, and I think it'll be a lot of fun for them. Plus, they're going out into the Philadelphia area, so they'll do a little sightseeing and be able to kind of take a little time to step away from volleyball, but still be with the volleyball family. So it'll be a lot of fun for them as well.
All right, that's going to do it for the Cardinals Nest here this week. Be sure to tune in again next week for another Cardinals Nest on TV 25. All right, you